The KHOU I-team has confirmed the officer who took his life was under internal investigation.
It's a story our Jeremy Rogalski has been tracking for weeks. He joins us now with exclusive details. Jeremy?
Well, Greg and Lisa, we know who this officer is, but out of respect for the family, we are choosing not to release his name until HPD officially does so. But through multiple sources, we do know HPD relieved him of duty today. He's one of 4 officers relieved of duty and ordered to turn in their badges amid a ticket rigging investigation that we've been tracking for weeks.
How could officers possibly be in 2 places at once? That's what the I-team found took place, if you believe dozens of speeding tickets written by HPD's traffic enforcement unit, including the officer who took his own life. For instance, he's listed on these 2 tickets, written at the same time on the Katy Freeway. The first near Westcott Street as a witnessing officer, the second writing a ticket near Gessner Road. That's 7 miles away. Or there's this set of questionable tickets on I-10. The same officer is supposedly at Westcott Street witnessing a speeder, but somehow 9 miles away at Wilcrest Drive, writing up a citizen at the same exact time. And we also found cases in which the officer was listed on 2 completely different roads. In this example, at 12:52 in the morning, the same officer is listed at 610 in Memorial, but also at 12:52, he's at I-10 in Gessner. The facts show it's fiction. So what would be the motivation? Court overtime, sources tell the I-team. Witnessing officers are subpoenaed and must appear ready to testify. Turns out records show the officer who killed himself made $158,000 in overtime over the past 3 years.
Now it's unclear how much of that overtime was linked to the questionable tickets. But again, the officer who took his life learned earlier today he was relieved of duty, ordered to turn in his badge, and stripped of his police powers. It's an action that HPD traditionally has taken in only the most serious of cases that may result in criminal charges. Jeremy Rogalski, KHOU 11 News.
But first, Houston police have released the name of the officer who shot himself yesterday.
And today we're learning more about his alleged part in a scheme along with 3 other officers to cheat the department on overtime. This is all a part of an internal investigation.
Let's get straight to the I-team's Jeremy Rogalski, who broke the story behind the story last night. Jeremy?
Greg and Lisa, the officer who took his own life is this man, 51-year-old Rudolph Farias, a 21-year HPD veteran assigned to the Traffic Enforcement Division. Now, we've learned that internal HPD probe focused on officers listing each other as witnesses on tickets so they could later appear in court to collect overtime. But in many cases, records show they were never there.
Houston police officers Rudolph Farias, Robert Manzanales, Gregory Rosa, and John Garcia each made tens of thousands of dollars in traffic court overtime each year. But some of that is now under scrutiny by HPD Internal Affairs, which has launched an investigation of the 4. The I-team analyzed months of records to unravel the alleged scheme. Officers would list one another as witnesses on speeding tickets so they could later testify in court. But the problem? Records show at the same exact time they also were writing tickets at a completely different location. Case in point, 12:52 in the morning. The same officer is listed on a ticket at 610 in Memorial and somehow also at I-10 in Gessner, miles away.
Just to remind you, just like any other citizen, they're innocent until proven guilty of any allegations.
The police union is bracing to legally represent the officers who've been relieved of duty, ordered to turn in their badges, and for the time being, stripped of their police powers.
They still get paid pending the outcome of the investigation. They have the chief acknowledges that they're guilty of nothing at this point. It simply has to mean that the IED process has now started for that person.
And that internal affairs process may be lengthy. The I-team was able to identify nearly 100 questionable tickets during just 6 months' time.
Now, we wanted to talk to Chief Charles McClellan about all of this, but HPD tells us that it's department policy not to comment on pending internal affairs investigations. However, a spokesperson did confirm these officers are indeed facing criminal allegations, not just policy violations. Live in the newsroom, Jeremy Rogalski, KHOU 11 News.
Tonight, the I-Team takes you inside the ticket rigging investigation at the Houston Police Department.
We have the paper trail that shows officers listed on speeding tickets who were never at the scene.
And tonight, the I-Team's Jeremy Rogalski talked to one driver who says he was a victim of that alleged scheme.
He's not your everyday motorist on the road.
You've been where?
I've been behind the radar gun.
You've written tickets?
Yes, sir.
He's a police officer who asked not to be identified. We'll call him Jerry. And when HPD wrote Jerry up for speeding in his personal car earlier this year,
I immediately know that something's hinky with the ticket.
why? Because the ticket writing officer put down another cop as a witness. But
There was no other officer. He was the only officer there.
what Jerry didn't know at the time is what the I-Team has now uncovered through a paper trail. Dozens of cases where HPD officers listed witnessing officers on tickets who were never there, all to allegedly collect hefty overtime checks by later appearing in traffic court.
Just to remind you, just like any other citizen, they're innocent until proven guilty.
The Houston Police Officers Union says it will offer legal representation to officers Gregory Rosa, Robert Manzanales, and John Garcia, all targets of an internal affairs probe. A fourth officer under investigation, Rudolph Farias, shot himself in a police parking garage. The I-Team found the alleged scheme took place mostly on highways. Case in point, Officer Manzanales at I-10 in Westcott puts Officer Farias down as a witness, but at the same exact time, Farias is writing a ticket 9 miles away at I-10 in Willcrest. Well, how about 3 officers at once allegedly in on it along the Katy Freeway? It's 11:30 at the 610 loop. Officer Manzanales puts Garcia down as a witness on his ticket, but Garcia also is a witness at Beltway 8 just a minute later on a ticket Officer Rosa wrote. And at the same exact time, Rosa is a witness over at Highway 6 on a ticket written by Officer Garcia.
Don't lie. Don't have your friend put something on the citation that's not true.
It all angers Jerry, the police officer, who says there's a higher standard.
You wear that badge for a reason. You don't wear that badge for the wrong reasons.
Well, the officers in question have had to turn in their badges and are now on desk duty during this probe. And HPD confirms they are facing criminal allegations, not just policy violations. The department is not commenting any further, but tomorrow, HPD Chief Charles McClellan has his regularly scheduled media availability, and we will be there. Jeremy Rogalski, KHOU 11 News.
The Houston police chief is now talking about the department's ticket rigging scandal.
Accusations that officers lied on speeding tickets to cash in on court overtime.
The I-Team's Jeremy Rogalski broke this story. He joins us again with the very latest. Jeremy.
Well, and Chief Charles McClellan says he's not assuming anything until all the evidence is gathered. But if his officers falsify tickets, the chief says that would be a criminal offense.
We don't rush to judgment. And however long it takes to get to the truth, it's going to get to the truth.
HPD Chief Charles McClellan says he's confident his internal affairs squad will get to the bottom of the alleged ticket rigging scheme on his force. These 4 officers, records show, listed one another as witnesses on speeding tickets at one location, but at the same exact time were writing tickets somewhere else, sometimes miles away. Sources tell the I-Team the motivation was to appear in court more often and collect more overtime.
We certainly had enough information and evidence that we believe that warrants an investigation, not only administrative investigation, but a criminal investigation.
An I-Team analysis of speeding tickets and GPS records reveals nearly 100 questionable tickets, but the chief says the officers in question are innocent until proven otherwise, and he will not rush to judgment.
I can't assume that the officers falsified a government document. I can't assume anything until I have proof or evidence.
And as we've been reporting, one of the officers under investigation, 51-year-old Rudolph Farias, shot and killed himself Tuesday in a downtown police parking garage. Hours earlier, Farias had learned he had been relieved of duty and was ordered to turn in his badge. I'm Jeremy Rogalski, KHOU 11 News.
Now to the I-Team and new revelations in the ticket rigging scandal we broke at HPD.
3 officers are on desk duty. A 4th shot and killed himself amid allegations they lied on speeding tickets to cash in on court overtime.
The latest chapter in this saga, Jeremy Rogalski digs up evidence that one of them may have lied on the witness stand.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's what HPD officers do when they testify in court. But
I'm mad.
I was shocked.
Traffic attorneys were floored when the I-Team shared what happened with one of their speeding ticket clients.
They lied on the ticket.
And on the witness stand, records reveal, at 3:04 in the morning, Officer Rudolph Farias listed Officer Robert Manzanares as a witness. And under oath, when attorney Janika Bratton asked, "Where exactly were you on the scene?" Manzanares replied, "I was behind him a few feet." But there's a problem. Just 1 minute earlier, Manzanares was writing a ticket 5 miles away. And we even checked GPS records of his patrol car, which confirm that's the case.
Clearly something has been fabricated.
And there were other red flags with the testimony of Officer Manzanares. "I was just a backup," he said. "I have no factual knowledge of the speed she was going." And when Attorney Bratton later asked, "So why exactly are you on this ticket as well?" Manzanares said, "Well, I don't know. I didn't put myself on there. Officer Farias put me on the ticket because I was on the scene."
I'm thinking, what kind of game are they playing?
This woman was found guilty at that trial. It was the word of 2 cops against hers. And as a longtime commercial driver, she cannot afford a bad record.
They were playing around with my life or my livelihood.
The alleged motivation for it all? Appear in court more often to collect more overtime. The I-Team found nearly 100 questionable tickets in just 6 months' time.
I'm not going to rush to judgment.
While HPD Chief Charles McClellan says he's waiting for all the evidence to come in, he has reassigned 3 officers to desk duty. A 4th, Rudolph Farias, killed himself after learning of the internal investigation.
I am confident that the internal affairs will get to the truth.
But what is that truth? Attorneys are left asking.
It's like the fruit of a poisonous tree.
What is the whole truth and nothing but?
If there's falsification on one item, then you can't trust any of it. It all needs to go.
And attorney Paul Kubash says he will ask for a new trial now in that speeding ticket case based on the new evidence. Meantime, the police officers union maintains the officers in question are innocent until proven otherwise. It is prepared to offer them legal representation. Live in the newsroom, Jeremy Rogowski, KHOU 11 News.
Alice, more fallout tonight following the KHOU 11 News I-Team investigation of a ticket rigging scandal at the Houston Police Department.
We now know more than 6,000 speeding tickets will be dismissed by city prosecutors. And today, HPD's chief said he supports that move.
Jeremy Rogowski broke the story, joins us with the very latest. Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah, Len and Greg, Chief McClellan says out of an abundance of caution, it's better to throw out thousands of speeding tickets than to have one tainted citation go forward and someone found guilty because of it.
In the interest of justice and fairness, it's the right thing to do.
HPD Chief Charles McClellan says he agrees with the decision by city prosecutors to dismiss all outstanding tickets written by officers Rudolph Farias, John Garcia, Robert Manzanares, and Gregory Rosa. Combined, they have more than 6,000 pending cases in municipal court. Records show on some of those tickets, the 4 cops listed each other as witnesses when they were never there, all to allegedly appear in court more often and collect more overtime. Officer Farias killed himself in a parking garage after the scandal broke, and the 3 other officers remain under criminal investigation.
If there's any perception that these citations may be tainted or someone questions the legitimacy or credibility of those, it is better to dismiss them.
The chief would not say how long he expects HPD's internal investigation to take. And when we asked if that probe has been expanded beyond the officers already under scrutiny, McClellan answered this way.
My instructions were, don't leave any stone unturned. Look at any and everything that you have to determine whether policy violations or violations of the law.
Now, the number of cases dismissed could actually grow higher because citizens can request a new trial if they've already settled a ticket by one of these officers in the past 10 days. And Greg and Len, we explain how to do that and what you need to do if you have a pending ticket. The info's all on our website, khou.com. The biggest thing to remember is that if you have a pending ticket, you still have to appear in court on your court date to get it dismissed.
Good information. Thanks, Jeremy.
Could be your lucky day.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jeremy.
3 Houston police officers are now facing criminal charges after a KHOU 11 News I-Team investigation.
Reporter Jeremy Rogalski broke the story about ticket rigging. Officers were accused of falsifying speeding tickets so they could cash in on court overtime.
And Jeremy joins us live at the criminal courthouse with details on the indictments that came down today.
It
Jeremy?
took less than an hour for a grand jury here to hand down felony indictments against the 3 officers who wrote speeding tickets that time and time again showed they were in 2 places at once. Former HPD officers Gregory Rosa, John Garcia, and Robert Manzanares all face felony charges of tampering with government documents. They listed each other as witnesses on speeding tickets at one location, but at the same time were writing tickets somewhere else, miles away. The alleged motive? To appear in court more often to collect more overtime. And Officer Manzanares also faces an aggravated perjury charge, accused of lying on the witness stand during a speeding ticket trial. After the scandal broke, city prosecutors dismissed more than 6,000 tickets, calling it in the interest of justice. The 3 accused all left the force earlier this month, either resigning or taking an early retirement. Now a 4th officer embroiled in this scandal, Rudolph Farias, committed suicide back in August when he learned he was under investigation. The tampering charges carry a punishment of up to 2 years in jail on conviction, up to 10 years in prison on that aggravated perjury charge. We're live downtown. Jeremy Rogalski, KHOU 11 News.